What's happening, Steeler Nation? Welcome to the latest episode of Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, live from the Steel Basement. What is happening, good people? What is happening, good people? Hope you guys are off to a great start in your week. Hope you enjoyed your weekend. And we're going to have a little bit of time here, man. We're going to talk a little bit about a couple little topics. You guys see what I've already put in the title. I like to use titles and correspond it with the thumbnail to kind of give you a glimpse as to what I will be talking about tonight as far as the main topic. But got just a few things to get into. But before we do that, let's say hello to the early commenters. Let's see who we got up in here before we get started. What's up, man? My man Mark Cunningham in the building. Lanisha, the lovely Lanisha. Hello, Lanisha. Hope your night is going well. Hope you've had a great day. And guys, y'all know the routine, man. Lay out the red carpet for our lovely ladies of Steeler Nation. Treat them with care. Good to see you like always. John Alexander. Oh, my man Y Diggy. Ollie Howard. Robert Westover. The infamous Tim. Charlie Brown, Jack Bauer. Who else is up in here, man? My man Brent Fox in the building as well. And I think that might be it for the early viewers. Also, Vista Light in the building. What's happening? Who else we got? Is there anybody that I missed? I don't think so. So let's get to it. My good brother Kenyon in the building as well. All right, so where do I want to start, guys? I'm going to start with one of the lesser topics. I got a couple throwaway topics here, man. Just some quick hits in and out. Let's talk about Elandon Roberts really quick. I've been thinking about this a little bit, guys. I just being honest with y'all, I've been thinking about this a little bit. I have not watched film on, what's his name, Malik Harrison. Do I know who he is? Of course I do, with him being a Raven. But again, guys, I don't watch a lot of these teams outside of the Steelers. You see the Ravens twice a year, so you have familiarity there. Same thing with the Cleveland Browns, which I'll be talking about Juan Thornhill in a moment. There's familiarity there, but I don't watch a lot of their games outside of the Steelers for me to really know what a player is unless I scouted them. Unless it was one of the guys that I scouted. I know a little bit about them in that regard, and if I can remember when they came out of college. But I'll say that about Malik Harrison. I don't know if he's going to be a direct fill-in for Landon Roberts. Obviously, we know that Cole Holcomb will be back. And, of course, Patrick Queen and Peyton Wilson. But it did make me think a little bit, guys. I'm curious to know why the Steelers went away from Landon Roberts. I'm not saying that it's a big time loss or. Hold on, guys. Let me make sure the mic is not too loud. Looks like I'm peaking a little bit. Okay, it looks okay. I'm not saying it's a big time loss, but Landon Roberts did bring a certain something to the Steelers defense. Just like Rob Spillane, or Bob Spillane as they're calling him now, Spillane is always going to have a little piece of this, little place in my heart, man, for that hit that he put on Derrick Henry. The goal line, I know a lot of you guys remember that, Steelers versus the Titans. And Landon Roberts also got a little piece of my heart as well, man. Even though we did not win the game, that hit that he administered against the Cowboys that made it a 4th and goal situation, or it might have forced it to a 3rd and goal. But either way, instead of the Cowboys having inches to go, they were all the way backed up to the 4-yard line. And at that point, I was thinking, man, the Steelers might have a chance to get this one. But what a hit. And if we could have just recovered the fumble, man, we might be still talking about that play. But when guys do things like that, they put their heart on display. They put their bodies in harm's way and just go all out. You always are gonna capture a place in my heart, man, because again, I just like that hard-nosed, gritty, tough type of guy, period. When it comes to sports, again, you guys have heard me say this before in relevance to NBA. That's why Allen Iverson is one of my favorite players of all time. I don't debate people with their list and who's this, who's that. It's all subjective, guys. Sometimes it's who you like, who you prefer. Allen Iverson will always be cemented as one of my favorite players, not only because he's from VA, but just the sheer size that he was and how he got beat down in the game and his toughness, just the way he played. I'm always going to respect a guy like that. Same reason why a guy like Russell Westbrook is and will be one of my favorite personalities on court. He's 100% at all times. So I'm just giving you guys, for some of y'all that might not be familiar with you, giving you a reason why I would say an Elandon Roberts is a guy that I will respect for the style of play. So getting back to the relevance, I don't know if Malik Harrison is a direct comp. I've heard people say he's more of a thumper. And like I said, I like Cole Holcomb a lot. I hope Cole Holcomb stays healthy. I hope it turns more into that rotation where it's Patrick Queen and, Wilson and Holcomb, and maybe Harrison gives us a little something. I know there's been some talk of him potentially playing on the outside. But it just made me think about it, guys. Over the weekend, I kind of was like, you know what? I wonder why they didn't bring Landon Roberts back. I'm pretty sure they could have made that same deal. So it just makes me wonder. These are the questions that I ask. I know a lot of us will ask other questions about roster and coaching decisions and ownership decisions. So it makes me look at one like that. And for what he signed for, maybe they just wanted to infuse more youth back in the position. I don't know. But yeah, I didn't think Landon Roberts couldn't have come back. He could have continued to be the Vince Williams, if you will. But just something I thought about. I don't know if any of you guys thought about that as well. Let me see if anybody had any comments on that. How you may or may not have felt about the loss of Landon Roberts. Why Diggy says, I think Cole Holcomb being healthy might have something to do with it. Yeah, I'm sure it did, Diggy. I'm sure it did. Absolutely agree with you there. I just wonder, did they stand on that? Like, is that what they really said? Like, look, we're gonna get better play even in the the base defense packages, and or rotation and sub package. Because as you guys know, there was times that we had to rotate Landon Roberts. So one would come to that conclusion that Cole Holcomb is probably the ace in the hole, that they felt like a guy that, if we have to rotate our three inside backers that we know of right now, in sub package, in base, the three of them could all handle that duty as well as not be a liability, if you will, in sub package. So the excellent point, Why Diggy. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Steeler Card says letting Landon Roberts go was a huge mistake. Okay, so Steeler Card says it's a huge mistake. I'm not gonna disagree with your sentiment, Steeler Cards. I will just say I don't know if it was a huge mistake. You know what I mean? And TBD, we'll see if it was a mistake or not. I think Landon Roberts definitely served his purpose in his role. I'm gonna read what Kenyon had here. Kenyon says the reason why Landon Roberts wasn't brought back was because the Steelers don't play 3-4 traditional anymore, and Peyton Wilson is the better fit. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, you got to look at that as well. I mean, it's very rare that we're in traditional 3-4 base. Even sometimes when we run more of like an overlook and things like that. So all of that might have had something to do with it. Just some things I thought about over the weekend, man, as I kind of rehashed what the Steelers have and haven't done so far in terms of players. Next up on the agenda, let's talk about Juan Thornhill a little bit. Man. Here's what cracks me up about Steeler Nation. Before I even get to that point, Kenyon and I are familiar with Juan Thornhill. I remember a time, man, when and Kenyon had mentioned him, and he told me to keep an eye on him, and then we both kind of watched him in college and scouted him, and we liked him quite a bit. You guys might even remember back then, man, before he got drafted, we were saying, around that time, I would like to add him, as a safety or what have you. Remember, we thought that might be a guy the Steelers may have grabbed in like the first or second, if I'm not mistaken, right, Kenyon? And here he is. Here he is, and it's interesting, guys. Like we always say this, and it's not nothing that you haven't heard from other people who I'm going to do quote fingers because I don't necessarily report on the Steelers. I am not a beat writer. This is not my day job, but I guess you guys would call me somewhat of a Steeler source, right? I'm your. I like to call myself. I'm gonna freestyle it. I like to call myself the fan's favorite fan, right? A Steeler fan's favorite fan. That's what I would call myself because I'm just I'm a fan, an average Joe like everybody else. I'm just a diehard Steeler fan. I happen to know a little football. I'm passionate about the sport, played a little football in my day. And that's why I can kind of speak to things from a different perspective sometimes than others. And I say sometimes because many of you guys and gals that might be in the same situation. I say gals, yes, because if you guys remember correctly, I'm going to test y'all knowledge, how long you've been rocking with me. There is a gal who is a part of our lovely Lady of Steeler Nation Club who played football as well. Some of y'all may or may not know who that was. That's a trivia question. So I will say guys and girls that were in that same boat, and just kind of the way I watched the game, even when I would have the pleasure of watching the game with Leonard Langley here that you might see in the chat, he's looking at one thing, I'm looking at another thing. I'm looking at different aspects and not just the play because it's just the football in me, right? So that's why I like to say I'm a Steelers fan's favorite fan because I speak from our perspective with a little football knowledge, right? So just a little phrase that I coined, if you will. But anyway, getting back to Kev So Fun said, Deb, nope. Antoine said Sade. Now I will say no to Sade only because maybe Sade also, but that's not who I'm referring to. Let's get back to it. It's always cool, man, when we say things like pay attention to guys that they bring in on a pre-draft visit. You don't have to just hear it from me or Kenyon or Steelers Depot or other outfits, or you can hear it directly from Mike Tomlin, man. Mike Tomlin and Kevin Colbert. I'll even go back to Colbert. They've always said that. They like to reconnect or refamiliarize themselves with people that they may have brought in at some point during a draft process. A lot of times, a lot of these free agents that the Steelers get, guys like this, I'm not going to disrespect them and say low-level free agent, but y'all understand what I'm saying when I say low-level, where it's not the marquee free agent. A lot of times, it's guys like this that the Steelers have talked to at a pro day, brought in for a pre-draft visit. And I'm not going to say the Steelers are the only ones to do that, but again, that's the team we're talking about. And Juan Thornhill makes a lot of sense. The Steelers a lot of times try to get these guys on potentially a second contract when they're relatively young. Let me actually check that, guys, because I want to be correct in my information. Let me see, what is Juan's age? Before I even look it up, I'm going to guess Thornhill's probably about 25, 26. Maybe. I don't put him much higher than that. Let me see. Oh, he's 29. Okay, wow, time flies. Time flies. Or maybe, that's right. I forgot, he had a stint with the Chiefs as well. So yeah, 29. I can't remember how old he was when he came out, but I'm thinking when he came out, he probably was around 23-ish. Now that I know his actual age. So anyway, the Steelers generally like to get those guys. Now, what I just said, Juan Thornhill doesn't fall in the age category being 29, but again, somebody that they're familiar with. and that they spoke to during the process. Now, here's the thing. This is where I want to get on us at Steeler Nation. I need somebody in the chat to please explain this to me. Why is it every time the Steelers sign somebody, it is the worst signing that we could have possibly done? And while I give y'all a second to react to that, can y'all tell me, is the music playing too loud to you guys, man? I forgot to check it from y'all's perspective. I can only hear it on my side. Please let me know if the music in the background is too loud, if y'all want me to turn it down, turn it off, or whatever. You know, I just try to add some ambiance. But yeah, why is it that we do that in Steeler Nation? Every time we sign somebody, I guess when they're not the person that you want, it's the worst signing ever. Not too loud. Okay, great. Why, Diggy? It's the worst signing ever. I saw this. I saw people extremely complaining. Like, I mean, overly complaining about the signing. And I'm like, okay, let's put it in perspective. KZ. Who else have we had at safety before Deshaun Elliott? What was homeboy Keanu? What was Keanu's last name? Keanu Neal. Right? And here's the funny thing. Deshaun Elliott has turned into a Steeler fan favorite. But yes, some of y'all are going to co-sign what I'm about to say. I remember when we signed him. I remember there was people right here in this very chat that did not like it. Thought it was, that's a, what do you want him for? He's been around the block. Blah, blah, blah. And Deshaun Elliott has turned out to be really solid in our defense, if you ask me. So I don't understand what the beef is with these guys. This guy's the third string safety. Has been pretty good in his career. If you don't believe me, go check out some people who do this way more detailed than I do. You know I'm always shouting them out. Go check out Steelers Depot. Alex Kazor has a post up there where he's breaking down what the Steelers are getting. I think it was Alex. If it wasn't Alex, forgive me, whoever posted it, but I think it was Alex. Go read that and go watch the footage. Now, the reason why I would say go refer it over there, because we know Steelers Depot going to tell you the truth, how they feel about a player. Do I respect their opinion? Absolutely. These dudes do this for a living. And they're pretty accurate sometimes. There may be times where you may agree or disagree with certain things, but for the most part, they're pretty accurate. And for Alex to give him that really positive report and explaining what he does well and things of that nature. And again, if you've just watched him in his time in the NFL, this is not a horrible signing for a depth safety. It just goes to show you that the Steelers are going to continue to run a 3 safety look. My only reason for bringing this up is I like to wonder what we think as Steelers fans, why we have such a problem all the time. Like, y'all literally want, I say y'all, I'm just casting that net out there widely, but y'all want every position in every roster spot to be elite talent. I mean, 1 to 53. Y'all got beef with every single player that is not the superstar. Oh, that's a horrible signing. Why? What is it about Juan Thornhill that just makes y'all feel like it's a trash signing? Oh, yeah, Stealing McBeam. I haven't forgotten about Edmonds. The only reason I didn't mention Edmonds is because Edmonds was an actual pick by the Steelers. He wasn't, well, he came back to us as a free agent. I guess you maybe could be talking about that stint. But let me just see what y'all got to say, man. Let me see here. Let me see what y'all got. Why Diggy says folks just want to be negative. Steeler Card says these are signings for cheap deals, nothing to hate on. That's how I feel. Oh, they out there, Kenya. I see it. I see it on the socials, whether it's X or Facebook. I browse these things, man. I browse Steelers, groups and things like that. And, I peek my head in on other people's shows and pods and kind of just, allowing it. I feel like I have to do that. It's my due diligence to see what the fan base that might not be my fan base, how they feel about things. And yeah, I saw it, man. I saw a lot of people complaining. And like you said, Kenyon, why? Why? Steely McBeeman says, great addition. What else y'all got? Can you talk about the fair weathers? You know how it is, man. Anxiety-filled fan base, Kevin Brown said. Yeah, man. It's just hilarious to me. But like I said, I think that was a solid signing. I'm curious about the Echo signing, man. I think that could be something. I'm curious to see how that one pans out. I'm going to tell y'all another signing that I actually appreciate more after I heard him interview. Kenneth Gainwell. Kenneth Gainwell. He said Kenneth or Kenny. And I thought it was funny when he said, you want to call me Kenny G? All right, you got it. I just like, it's something about, some of y'all will understand this. Sometimes you can feel somebody's energy, or you can kind of feel their spirit. There's something about Kenneth Gainwell, man, that it struck a chord, man, watching this interview. I was like, you know what? I like this dude. I like this guy. Just from that little small interview, I feel like I could tell who he is and who he be. I like that guy, man. And he's going to have to prove me wrong as far as if he's not what I thought as a person, as a teammate. He just seems like a good dude. I just, it was something about his interview, man, just watching him and listening to him. I'm like, what? I like him. I think he might be cool. He might be one heck of a locker room guy, and we'll see. But other than that, man, I don't really have an issue with the signings so far. I mean, some people will say they're lackluster in some of these guys. I was not familiar with the kid from New England. I'm gonna have to, go watch a couple things more than just highlight clips. I need to, watch a game or two and just see how he plays at the tackle position, defensive tackle position. And then, of course, I'll just end with this as far as players. The DK Metcalf one is still interesting. I like it. I like them being aggressive. But because we are in this funny situation at the QB position, it's just, I tell you, it's almost like that move is overshadowed because we don't know who's going to be at the helm. Now, speaking of which, let's get to the next topic before I get to the final topic. There are reports that the Pittsburgh Steelers are high on Jaxon Dart as well as Will Howard. There's reports are saying that. One of the people reporting this is one Jerry Dulac. Now, if you guys are Steelers fans and have been Steelers fans as long as I have been, or just a decent amount of time, you would understand why it's, reporters are never always correct. Because let me tell you something, there could be reports coming out from a very good source, even an inside source, and the organization could still do something else. So I don't judge reporters and beat writers based on if they're right or wrong. I do give credit to those who are pretty solid. Like most of the time, Shefty, Rappaport, dudes like that, once they say something, it usually happens. Jerry Dulac, sometimes yes, sometimes no. Same thing with Mark Caboli. But I respect both of these guys. So I will at least pay attention when I hear of them saying this is what I'm hearing because they're close to the team. And Jerry Dulac says that they think that the Steelers are higher on Jaxon Dart and Will Howard than others may think. Now, when I hear this news, the only thing that I'm not too excited about is here's another quarterback I'm going to have to watch. I'm going to have to get my 3 games of footage on Will Howard, and I'll try to watch the best matchups, where it's stiff competition. And, me personally, I like to see games where these guys didn't do as great, where it was kind of a grind out. And I like to see games where they excelled, so I can see the good, the bad, what they're made of. Because, to me, what a quarterback is made of sometimes is when it's a drawn out, rough and tough game, and then they come through in the end. How did they deal with the adversity? How did they stay in a tough game? They took a couple sacks. How did they react to that? Were their stats down because they were throwing the ball away, or were they throwing interceptions? Were they, seeing ghosts? I like to see the pressure situation and a game where they balled out, so I could get both worlds right. But another reason why I'm not happy is because my good brother Kenyon has brought it to our attention several years ago, and he's turned out to be right, with the exception of one who finally broke the curse. But largely, Kenyon has pointed out, as well as others, even in the professional ranks, as far as commentators have said, that the Ohio State quarterbacks have not really panned out in the NFL if you look at the history. C.J. Stroud is the only one. For the most part, somebody might find another one, but from as far back as I can remember, let's say the last 15, 20 years, Stroud is the only one who's kind of broke through and is pretty solid. Justin Fields has an opportunity to potentially be the next one, but we'll have to see, because so far, a lot of people would say that hadn't happened either. So, I'm going to have to take a look and see what Will Howard is all about. But I like Jaxon Dart, man. I really do. I got a chance to watch him, and I did finally watch Tyler Shuck. The last time y'all heard me when I did my independent video on him, I was saying his name wrong. I was saying it was Shang. It's Shuck. Spelled S-H-O-U-G-H. Tyler Shuck, or Shook is how they say his name. His name is popping up quite a bit. Had a really good combine. But in the 3 games that I watched, Kenyon was right. The boy can spin that ball. Got an arm on him. He got some really solid arm talent. When y'all first heard me talk about him, I said that I didn't think he was as mobile, but then as I continued to watch more games, he'll run. He can move when he needs to. He's not mobile in the sense of he's not a run first guy, but he could get out of some situations. He will get out of a situation if he has to, and he ran well at the combine. So it's not like he doesn't have the ability. What I did not know about Shuck was I didn't know he had injury history. And he's 25 years of age already. But the reason why I want to at least mention him really quick is because this is a guy that, they're projecting that he's a 3rd round pick, somewhere around there. Would it be so bad if the Steelers took a shot in the 3rd round if he's sitting there? I get it. We all gonna sit here and say, yeah, but he's 25. Okay, and we saying that, and there's a 41-year-old quarterback that we waiting for. What difference do it make? If you ain't taking him in the 1st round, so what? And even if it was a 1st round quarterback that's 25, so what? You still, if it's a franchise guy, not saying he is, I'm just saying in theory, if it's a franchise quarterback, you can still play him till he's 35. Like we get so hung up sometimes on these, because again, that's one thing that I kind of disagree with Steelers Depot sometimes when they're going through this draft process. They're always saying, yeah, but the kid is already 23. And I'm like, so what? I get it. The Steelers like to generally go young, but in theory, what difference does it make? 25 is still a young man. But anyway, just wanted to point that out. But listen, I like Jaxon Dart, man. I don't, I couldn't say this guy would go on to be a great franchise QB. But what I'm saying is, again, I'm speaking from this perspective. I'm speaking from the position of the Steelers not having a sound option right now. If the Steelers decided they wanted to take a shot on him, I wouldn't be that mad at it because I like what I saw from him. Yes, he's raw. Yes, he's going to need some work, the same way Lamar Jackson did. No, I'm not comparing the two. I'm just saying, I think sometimes as fans, we got that microwave mentality where we think everybody's going to hit immediately. It don't always work like that. It doesn't always work like that. Some guys have to get into the NFL and develop. But what do you see from him? And like I told y'all, from what I saw from this dude, I'm actually going to watch a fourth game on him. Tough. He's tough. He can throw. Decent arm. Decent accuracy. I wouldn't say elite, at least in the 3 games I saw. Now, Shuck, probably a little more accurate. Dart can run the ball too. He's a physical guy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not mad at if the Steelers took a shot at that for the time being, and if they got something out of it, great. If they didn't, they could revisit it. It's not a one and done. Kenny Pickett proved that to us. If you miss on a quarterback, there's always another time to do it. And nothing prevents them from drafting, double dipping, just like they did with the tackles. Nothing prevents them from getting a quarterback this year and drafting one next year too. So I'm just speaking from all possible scenarios. Here's the other thing. What is the alternative? Some people say, oh man, just let Mason Rudolph rock out and, maybe bring somebody else in to back him up and then it would be him and the next guy and Thompson. And then next year, what's the difference? If you're willing to let Mason Rudolph start, and again, I'm not bashing Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph actually played decent the last time he played with us down that stretch. But what I'm saying is if you're willing to just let the Steelers rock out with him, would it be so bad if they ended up drafting a guy like Dart or Shook? You see what I mean? That's just my opinion. You don't have to agree. I'm just saying. Now, let's get to the meat and potatoes of tonight's conversation, and then we'll be out of here. I can't even say what I really want to say because this is a family-oriented program. But I'm going to say it the best way I can. I am sick and tired of Aaron Rodgers. I'm sick and tired of Aaron Rodgers, bro. For as much as I want to understand what it could look like, with an Aaron Rodgers-led offense potentially with a DK Metcalf and a George Pickens and a Darnell Washington and a Freiermuth and Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin and whoever else, I don't care no more. I thought this conversation would be over by now. I'm sick of Aaron Rodgers. And let me explain to y'all why. Exactly what I was afraid of just happened. You see who I have in the thumbnail? One of my personal favorites of all time. Mine. You don't have to agree. One of my personal favorites, one in which whose jersey I am going to buy this year before he retires. my man Cam Hayward, the longest tenured Steeler, said on his platform, and I'm just going to paraphrase, man, ain't nobody chasing him. That's basically what he said. Because his co-host said, man, you know, Aaron Rodgers has gone dark, and what if they sent you in the darkness to find him, and yada, yada, yada. Cam was like, I ain't doing all that. And I'm going to give y'all the real man version of what Cam said. This is really sad. Man, ain't nobody worrying about all that. Bro, you coming or not? And if you ain't, beat it. That's basically what Cam said. I ain't doing all of that. It's very simple. If you sending me, my pitch is you want to be a Steeler or you don't. That's simple. And that's where I'm at with it. Let me explain to you my personal opinion why I feel like it matters today. Because I've seen some other people say, oh, he can take all the time he wants. And listen, I'm just showing y'all that I don't care what the quote unquote professionals say. I think Acho said that and a couple others. I don't care what they say. I have my own opinion. Respect everybody. But I'm not one of those people, because I see a lot of y'all do this too. A lot of y'all, and real quick, let me get a sidebar real quick. I see a lot of you dudes, man, and I hate to do this because I feel like we all a family, but I see a lot of these people out here that do Steelers shows, right? A little podcast or a little TikTok or whatever it is, and y'all think that I don't see this. And I'm not saying me personally, because y'all don't know me, I don't know you. But y'all think people are stupid. I see a lot of y'all, all y'all do is regurgitate. Yeah, I'm going to use that word. Y'all regurgitate what somebody else said. That's all you do. There's a couple channels out there that they say things verbatim based off of what they saw on TV. Oftentimes what they saw on First Take. Or Get Up or one of those. I mean, verbatim. And guys, I don't even be looking for that. The reason why I know it's verbatim, because I'm like, huh? I heard that before. It's almost like they reading the transcript. That ain't me. So I don't care that there's these professionals that's saying they should do this and they should do that. I'm telling you what I think. Right, wrong, or indifferent. And I think, bruh, move on from this dude, man. The worst thing that could have happened is what I feared. I didn't say it last week, but I feared what would happen. And how are the teammates viewing this? How are the people that are in that building viewing this? The leaders. I thought about TJ Watt. Congrats to TJ, man. I heard they said he welcomed the child. I think it might be his first child. I don't know, but I think so. Real quick, round of applause to TJ Watt, man, and his lovely wife, man. Round of applause, man. I hope you guys heard that. Y'all said no sound clip. All right, hold on. Y'all didn't hear it? Hold on. Let me make sure y'all can hear it. 1 second. 1 second. Let me make sure it's working. Hold on, guys, because, well, either way, I'll fix that later. But round of applause. I thought about Minka. And then I thought about the guy. The guys whose team it actually is. I know some people are going to say, oh, no, that's TJ. Yeah, but that's Cam Hayward. Cam Hayward is the leader of this team. Cam Hayward is the epitome of Pittsburgh Steeler. Not only is he from the area, I mean, you can't get no better than that, but he has been the Steeler in his tenure. He always does it the right way. Very similar to what I said about Russell Westbrook in this regard. Cam don't take no days off, bruh. At his age, this dude's still chasing people down the field. He embodies what it means, what we expect out of a Pittsburgh Steeler. And he If he is publicly talking, that is the problem. I know people are saying, oh, he can take his time. Yeah, but the longer you take to make a decision is the more time that you are pissing away. Yeah, I'm going to say that. There's more time that you can have to contact your receivers and your defense and the captains of the team and start having these conversations, doing some, things to build camaraderie and team building and interacting with the offensive coordinator and saying what, the kind of plans you have versus the plans they got, and interacting with Mike Tomlin. The new league year has started, by the way. Coming in, let the people see you, come work out. The longer that you take to make a decision, you delay all of that, and it sends the wrong message. Dog, let's put it on the most simplest term. Let me put it to y'all in terms that y'all may understand. And so I don't alienate anybody, I'm going to say whatever your preference is, right? Whether you are attracted to a woman or a man, this should apply. Imagine this person that you're attracted to is telling you it's between you and the next person. And then they make you wait. They make you wait 2-3 weeks before they say which one of y'all they're going to deal with. How do you feel if they tell you 2 or 3 weeks later, okay, I'm going to choose you? Are you feeling like that they really wanted to be with you? Or were they weighing some, because if they were all about you, it's you off the rip. Again, I like to use real world examples. Most of us have been in a situation like that, whether you were in that situation or when you approach said situation, that ain't the answer that you wanted to hear back. You don't want to hear nobody tell you, I really like this guy too. And dog, you think I'm sitting around and waiting? Kenya. Tell him, Kenya. You think us Aries brothers, young and in their prime, was gonna sit around and wait for somebody to decide if it's me or them? Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Are you crazy? And that's what I wish the Pittsburgh Steelers would do. Like, dog, I'm gonna keep it buck with y'all, man. I hate to go off on this tangent, but dog, we look weak out here, bro. We looking like some chumps right now. We look like straight suckers. As an organization, this dude got us by the you-know-whats, man. Almost like he's saying, what you gonna do? Y'all ain't got no choice. I want to see us be like, dog, later for you. I want to see us say, we out on the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes. We done with that. And just live with whatever it's gonna be. You either gonna rock with Rudolph, you're gonna try to get Russell back, you're gonna have a leap of faith and draft somebody. But what you ain't gonna do is allow homeboy to come back. And allow him to dictate the situation. Matter of fact, homeboy that you gonna have to pay some money. Cause you ain't getting them on the cheap. He playing in that face, man. I don't like it. And my mind ain't gonna change on that, man. I don't like it. And whoever is doing it, whether it's the organization, Omar Khan, Mike Tomlin. I'm talking right to you, Mike T, just in case. If this is your love affair, and I say that respectfully, and you want to get a chance at coach, you better than that. Don't let nobody. We BA born and raised, bro. You know we don't get down like that out there. Come on, coach. No way. We ain't letting nobody play in our face like that. And that's where I'm at with it. Y'all know I've been feeling this for the last couple of weeks, but like I said, My brother Kenya made an excellent point. From just a football X and O's, imagine plugging Rodgers into that situation. I was like, okay, all right. Under this pretense, and if they get him at this price, okay. But I'm at the point now where I don't care. Because I'm thinking we'd be done with this conversation. We still talking about it. This dude out here walking the beach with a towel on it. Man. I get it. Some of y'all are going to say, but Sim, you just a fan. You right. You right. That man got a right to do what he want. But I have a right to instruct or request of my team to do what I want them to do and say later with Aaron Rodgers. Say it with your chest out. We've moved on. Don't it feel better to dump somebody instead of being dumped? Which one feels better? For anybody who's ever been in that situation, don't you feel a little bit better, even if you love that person? You feel a little bit better if you were the one to be able to say, you know, it's not you, it's me. You know what I'm saying? Didn't it feel a little bit better? When you were able to walk away from the situation instead of somebody just dumping you. Because you, dog, egg on your face. If that man decide to go somewhere else, we got egg on that face looking stupid. We already look bad at how we've handled the quarterback situation since Ben Roethlisberger. But if you sit around and keep waiting and Aaron Rodgers decides that A, he's not coming to Pittsburgh, or B, he's going to retire, now you sitting there with eggs smeared all over your face, Steelers. And I'm saying it as a Steeler fan. I am too proud of a fan for my organization, not mine, but you know, the organization I root for, to be looking like some chumps out here. I can't take that. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be a homer and be biased in this statement. That ain't the Pittsburgh Steelers. That ain't my Steelers. We can't be looking like that. We cannot be looking like suckers. And all we could do is look over here, look down the road, and look across the way at Cincinnati and look down at Baltimore and see how they chilling with their franchise quarterback. We out here begging for Aaron. Yo, Pittsburgh, stop it, man. Stop begging. Stop begging. Stop the begging. Let Jodeci do that. Baby, I'm begging. Don't. Better be glad this is a family-oriented show, because I got a lot of choice words I like to say. I am Aaron Rodgers. If you seeing this, go somewhere. I'm not a fan. Hey, you had a heck of a career. One of the most talented quarterbacks I had seen in your prime. But dog, get out of here, man. Stay on that beach. Don't come to Pittsburgh. Because even if you come to Pittsburgh, I'm completely turned off of Aaron Rodgers and how he's handling this. And the reason why I'm saying that, guys, yes, he has a right to do what he wants. But again, somebody who's been in the league for so long and a quarterback who was automatically a leader of the team, you know what effect this could have on the organization, whether it's Pittsburgh or the Giants, because those are the two teams that are supposedly waiting. You know the type of effect this could have on the team and the locker room. People already, the perception, I don't know this for fact, so I'm going to keep it real in my own assessment. I don't know this to be fact, but people already saying he's a cancer in the locker room. You think this adds to it? Does this make it look good or worse? Man, get out of here, man. I'm done with this dude. You're right, John. I should not be discussing the clown. And that's what I'm going to say. I don't know if you are a clown, sir, but what is happening right now is clown behavior. So this is goofy. I'm tired of the goofy. So let's move on. Those are my thoughts on that. What y'all got, man? Fire away in the chat. Spend a few minutes here. Kev So Fun said, the VA about to come out. Yeah, man, I'm sick of this dude, man. Like, John says, Sim, veterans like Cam, TJ, and Minka is why the Steelers do not want to rebuild. They want to win a Super Bowl for them, and perhaps signing a proven veteran quarterback is an immediate possibility. I feel you on that. I do. And that's why I agreed with Kenyon last week, man, when we did the steel table. I'm like, all right, you've convinced me to where if we could get him at the right price, okay. You might still be in a win now situation because of those guys you just named. But we are a week removed from that. And the thing is, the entire world is talking about this. That's all they talking about. Can't do that, man. So I'm off that. Again, if he ends up in Pittsburgh, I'm going to root for the team like I always do. But I am totally against this now. Just think about it, dog. If Cam Hayward came out and was willing to say what he said, dog, did y'all see the frustration on that man's face? That's Cam Hayward. And shout outs to Rich Eisen, because Rich Eisen pointed out, or one of the dudes on his show was like, that's jolly Cam talking like that. He said that might be one of the first times I seen Cam upset like that. Cam Hayward. Think about that. Cam Hayward is publicly showing his disdain for how this is being handled. Him. So you ain't got to just listen to what I'm saying as a fan. Our captain is saying, dog, I'm tired of this free agency. Let's get this over with. I just want a ball. That is code for, can we get this locked down so we can start talking about what we got to do? He already, again, my title wrote itself. He's already affecting the locker room. It's not good. I don't like it. Like I said, man, I was down with my, listen, I fully agree. Y'all saw it in real time. Kenyon got me to say, all right, I see it like that. But we thinking that was going to happen. We a week removed from that, man. Like, come on, man. I can't do it. It's sad, bro. What else y'all got? Hey, man, Mr. Winningham, my good buddy, Mr. Winningham. Mr. Winningham, this is for you specifically. I'm still looking. I think I may have found a service. I got to do a little more research, but I may have found a phone service that is comparable to what Blog Talk was. I hope so, because I really want to get you guys back on. If it goes too long, man, I'm going to have to break down and do what I don't want to do. I'm going to have to do a Discord or something. I don't prefer that. But what I also don't prefer is to have you guys voiceless. I want to hear from y'all more than just the chat. Mr. Winningham says, you either with us or you not. This whole season has become a joke. Yeah. That's why I like talking to Mr. Winningham, man. Words of wisdom. Words of wisdom. Why Diggy says, signed a vet quarterback last year, ended up in the same place we've been since 2017. Should probably change tactics. And that's all I'm saying, guys. Again, I think sometimes you guys kind of, I call it the social media acknowledgement. Like, that's all, you only hear clips. A lot of times you guys misconstrue what I might say, or Kenyon or anybody else in the chat when we say, hey, do this. We're not saying that Jaxon Dart is the answer or Tyler Shook or any of them. But what we're saying, if we compartmentalize the situation the Steelers are in, what's it gonna hurt? Right now, we looking at Mason Rudolph, 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers who's undecided, or going to the draft, or sign a Tyler Huntley or a Trey Lance. Or what I'm saying is none of the options that we're putting out there takes this thing over the top. Like I said, at this point, I'd rather you just rock with Russell Wilson again. But by the way, Russell might be looking at y'all like, yeah, all right. I told y'all I wanted to be in Pittsburgh. I told y'all that. I told you I wanted to be in Pittsburgh. Y'all advised me that, we're going to make an attempt and we're going to bring Justin Fields back. No harm, no foul. Hey, the young kid looked up to me. I get it. Okay, I understand that. But what I don't understand if I'm Russell Wilson is now you looking at Aaron Rodgers, who's older than me. I don't care if he is Aaron Rodgers, he's 41. So that would be my stake if I'm Russell Wilson, like, dang, was I that bad? Even though we're here that there was some friction between him and Arthur Smith, but still, either way, you still in a situation where Russell Wilson looking at you like, So it ain't no guarantee that you can get him back. You done played in his face. And that's what I'm saying, given the situation, guys, there's no right or wrong answer. Drafting Mason Rudolph, all of them are what I like to call crapshoots. What else y'all got, man? Hello, Miss Lanisha says, I will take Rudolph, quarterback from the draft, and whoever they pick as the third QB. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Listen, I'm willing to say this. If Tyler Shook is in the third round, pull that trigger. Don't even hesitate. If he's sitting there when you pick in the third round, don't even hesitate. Because again, spending a third round pick on a quarterback, nobody is questioning you going next year and getting another one. The only raise of an eyebrow that some people would have is if they take one of these kids, including him, if they take one of these guys in the first, because remember, we don't have a number 2 pick as of now. So let's just say the circumstances stayed as they are. Without a number 2, some people might raise an eyebrow if we draft someone at 21. Again, now Shador is being mocked to the Steelers. They claiming he's falling. Like I said, from what I've seen, if they wanted to take a shot, I'll say it like this. I know what y'all gonna say. Yeah, but look how that turned out. But it is what it is, guys. Desperate times. If they drafted a quarterback at 21 and it was Jaxon Dart, I look at that and say, well, they drafted Kenny at 20. So if they taking another shot in the dark, it is what it is. Right? If a guy like Shook is there in the third round, I'm not hesitating on that. Would you take a Milroe in the third round? I don't know. Again, I don't think Milroe is that great, but is Milroe, and y'all tell me, because again, I don't watch a lot of Alabama. Is Milroe the equivalent of a Joe Milton that some of y'all are asking for the Steelers to trade for? Because I don't know how good he is or isn't. So that's all I'm saying, man. And I think there's a couple other quarterbacks out there. The Will Howard guy, I mean, but I don't know. We're in a tough situation, bro. We're in a tough spot. It just is what it is. The Slant Football says, grab you a cheap scoreboard and grab extra phone line on the cell phone, and you can have call in. Man, you said soundboard. I'm not getting no extra phone line for that. I feel what you're saying, but I ain't doing all that, man. I'm not getting a extra. Again, if I did this for a living, hey, like I said, if this was something that paid the bills, maybe. I'm just keeping it a buck with y'all. I try not to invest so much money into this because this, well, sometimes they do because you guys be giving me Wonder Bread. And I put a lot of that to the side and try to think of ways that I can improve content and improve the show. So maybe that would be an option. I don't know. But as of today, I'm not doing all of that. I'm not investing in a soundboard and an extra phone line. And no. When there was services it was very simple and easy, man. It was easy to just maintain right online. It's just too bad that there's not a whole lot of services that were like Blog Talk or are like Blog Talk. Blog Talk was perfect, man, but they went under. And I think it might be the reason why they went under might be because of some of the issues that we had sometimes where it wasn't working. Maybe they got enough complaints and people started pulling out from them and they folded up shop in January. Yeah, why, Diggy? That's why you're right. If I can't find a service comparable to what that was, Discord might be the better option because then you would have like I could create like a room channel there or whatever. We could be communicating, in real time, like even throughout the week. So, that might be a possibility. But either way, I'm not going to let this go much longer. I'm going to find some way for people to call in. But my preference definitely would be is that there's an independent phone line and me having a virtual switchboard where I can manage the calls and things of that nature. But we'll see. Steeler Card says, going to be interested to see where Milroe gets drafted. I believe he's a day 3 pick. Yeah, and let me ask y'all that. Would y'all take Milroe on day 3? Just day 3. I don't know what round that is, but I don't know if that's 4th, 5th, 6th. Would you guys, as Steeler GM, would you take Milroe on day 3? Okay. So you guys are saying yes. Joe Manick says, yeah. Kev So Fun says yes, 4th through 6th. Why Diggy says, as far as Milton, I would consider it, but New England is asking for a 3rd. Yeah, and that's the question too for y'all. Is he worth a 3rd? Charlie Brown says, nope, he wouldn't take Milroe in the 3rd round. Okay. 3rd day. John Alexander says, if they sign Russ, how much do you think it will cost us? For how long? I don't know, man. I'm not sure right now. I'm not even considering Russ right now because of the way they dragged it out. I don't think Russ is even interested at this point. So I think they kind of messed that up. Kev So Fun says he wants Tyler Shook. Okay. Kenya says, nope, Sim, he's not. All right. Yep. Milton is unproven. Mr. Winningham says, yes, I think he's referring to taking Milton on day 3. No for a backup 3rd. Okay. Yeah, I'm just curious, man. I just was curious of what you guys felt, from as far as the fan base. Rajan says a rookie will be unproven too. Got to start somewhere. And see, I want to highlight what Rajan said, man. Round of applause to you, because that is the thing, Steeler Nation. That is the thing. We always want it, right? We want it our way. We never consider that. We never consider no way is the quote unquote right way. That is an excellent point. You draft a rookie this year or next, they're unproven. They're unproven in the NFL. It's all projection. But again, I can't believe I'm about to say this because I was the main one saying, oh, he's just a system guy. But he's a little bit more than a system guy. I got to give him his credit. Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy has done decent in the NFL. This man was the last pick of the draft. Russell Wilson was a 3rd-round pick, unproven. I mean, I'm just saying, there's no sure answer. All we can do is go off projections, which it's fair that we all do that. But at the same time, you know, I have two sides when it comes to that. I go off of projections, but then also I have the what if mentality. You never know what these kids could be. You never know. You never know what Tyler Shook might be. You never know what Jaxon Dart might be. You never know what Arch Manning might be. These guys that are going to come out next season, you don't know. All you can do is say, yeah, I think he's going to. But how many quarterbacks have you seen come in the league you thought they was going to be something? So that's all I'm saying. And I'll end it with this. In the situation that the Steelers are in, nobody can tell me that they would be wrong for drafting a quarterback in this year's draft. Whether 1st or 3rd round. Nobody can tell me that they would be outright wrong because they don't have an answer. They don't have an answer. They have a guy who's playing in our face that we don't even know if he's coming back to play or play for Pittsburgh. And then they have Mason Rudolph, which most of y'all can't stand. So I'm just saying, like, how are any of these options bad? Even the Joe Milton thing. It's draft capital, so I don't know if you necessarily want to do that. But whatever they do at this point, we got to just say, well, hope this works out. That's where we are, unfortunately, still a nation. That's where we are. But all right, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. And just make sure I didn't miss anything. I don't think there's... I always double check. I don't think there was any Wonder Bread tonight, but I just want to make sure I didn't miss it. Because I like to give you guys credit when you do it. Nope, doesn't look like any. I'll read one or two more and then I'm going to get out of here. I see a couple names that are new in the chat. Well, at least tonight. Cornelius Gibson says, yes, they play with my dude Fields on that money. And now got to deal with these games. Yeah, even that. Even Fields was going to be a crapshoot. But I wouldn't have been as mad at that again, guys. Again, me realizing that the Steelers are in this situation where, like, I saw so many people saying, no, don't sign Fields. But it's like, what is the answer? Like, tell me what the real answer is for this year. Let's do that exercise again. Tell me what the real answer was at the end of this season if you don't sign Fields or don't sign Russell Wilson. Lay out for me what the plan was from your POV. Don't sign Russell. Don't sign Fields. What was the plan? Were y'all high on the Sam Darnold thing? Steelers made an offer to Sam Darnold, but he got more money in Seattle. So that would have been off the board. They would literally be in the same situation. So all I'm saying is let it play out the way it's played out, but the Steelers didn't show interest in Fields or Wilson. What would the plan be? And that's what cracks me up sometimes, guys. As fans, we get too emotional. It's almost like it's almost like we got the answer, but we don't have the answer. Joe Manick says Malik Willis. Malik Willis is just as unproven as Justin Fields. Some would say he hasn't had the greatest opportunity, but he couldn't beat out Will Levis. He gets shipped out to Green Bay, and he played decent in a couple games, but nothing groundbreaking. But then now you got to trade for him. See? So you're saying we needed to trade for him, right? Oh, no, he would have been a free agent? Trying to think. Yeah, because Pickett was a free agent, right? Or did he get traded? No, Pickett got traded. They're not free agents yet, right? This will be their 4th season. So that means we would have had to have traded for Malik Willis. Got some Wonder Bread, man. Rajan says, just because Appreciate the content. Oh, man, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. The round of applause ain't working for me tonight. And I think it's because Wavelink had an update, so I have to fix that. What else y'all got? Seems like we've become a drama-filled organization. Yeah, man. Right. Willis, you saying, was pretty good with Green Bay and he'll get better. But what I'm saying is this. This is all I'm saying. We're going to hang our hat on whatever you've seen from Malik Willis thus far in his career. That was going to be the plan. Like, seriously. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying, listen to the plan. After this season, we're going to let Russell Wilson and Justin Fields walk. We're going to trade for Malik Willis based off of what we've seen out of his career thus far. That's what I'm going to do as a GM. That's not likely. It's just not likely. That's all I'm saying, man. Listen, I like Malik Willis. Y'all remember I wanted him over Pickett. Y'all remember that? I thought he had tremendous upside, but I'm saying, yes, maybe Green Bay, that organization has worked for him, but why couldn't he beat out Malik Willis? That's funny. Why couldn't he beat out Will Levis? That's all I'm saying, guys. Like, I love y'all, man. I really do. I'm just telling y'all, it's so much better on this side of the fence when you get to that point as a fan where you like, all right, let me put everything in perspective. Let me not go with my heart. Let me use my sound mind and say, okay, X, Y, Z. With whatever. Players, trades, coaches, draft picks, like, you try to put it in a sound perspective, you will feel better, I promise you. Because I'm telling you, so many us in Steeler Nation, many of you guys out there were saying, man, I don't want Fields or Wilson. But there was not a lot to choose from. You had Kirk Cousins, Sam Darnold, which gave you that season in Minnesota. And who else was out there? Some guys that I'm missing. But even lower tier than that, it wasn't a lot of options to where you were going to say, yeah, this guy, when he comes to Pittsburgh, we're going to go win the Super Bowl. The option just wasn't there. That's all I'm saying, man. Well, in fairness, Mason Rudolph didn't really beat out Levis either. Yep. That's what I'm saying. And that was the other option, which has been signed. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't a lot out there, man. It wasn't a lot out there. But yeah, man. I hate that we here. My man Mark says, Sim, I remember the steel table on draft day when we took Pickett. Y'all were distraught, except for Kenya. Yeah, Kenyon had said it from the beginning. He was like, man, look, Kenyon said, listen, they going to take somebody. I don't think there's a real solid quarterback in the draft. Whatever they're going to do is what they're going to do. We all knew that Kenny Pickett, again, projections. Yeah, we're going to say it was a weak draft class. Fine. But he was projected to be the most NFL ready, and the Steelers were in a position where they had to take a quarterback. And look what happened. Mr. Irrelevant is the only one who turned out to be successful. Ain't that funny? That is my exact point about this year's draft. Can I predict it? No. But my exact point about this year's draft, is it at all even this possible that one of these quarterbacks not named Cam Ward, not named Shedeur Sanders, even though some don't believe Shedeur is even outside of the two projected guys, is it at all possible that a Jaxon Dart, who I think is a baller, Tyler Shook, Will Howard, which I don't know much about him. I'm just naming some of these quarterbacks. Maybe even Milroe. I don't know. I got to watch Milroe too now. I got to watch them all now. Is it at all possible that they could have success the same way Brock Purdy did, playing within the confines of the system? Don't get into semantics and say, oh, well, Arthur Smith's system is nothing like Cal. I know that. That's not what I'm saying. It's not apples to apples. I'm just saying, is it not at all possible to have the same exact situation where you have these projected quarterbacks, it's like 2 or 3 of them at the top, and then you have the rest of them that are like, and the one that got picked literally last in the draft is the guy that actually did something. Oh, shout outs to my man SGN, man. Appreciate that. Round of applause. Sorry that the applause button is not working, but I'll get that back working next time. Thank you, brother. He says, I need A-Rod to sign already so we can get a 1 month of video game streams from you before the draft. I know, man. See, SGN is tired of hearing about this junk either. He wants me to get back to some college football and some Madden streams, which will be coming soon, man. Got a little busy last week, but and I know CT Pittman, if he sees this, big fan of that as well. We'll be right back at it. Speaking of which, SGN, while you're here, I'm going to throw this perspective out there. I wrapped up the Virginia Tech series. That just didn't stream, but I wrapped up. We didn't make the bowl, the playoffs. We went 10-3. We won the little bowl game we played against Charlotte. And my younger cousin, who's actually on the team, was a senior in this year. This was my second season with Virginia Tech. He's graduated. So I've thought about maybe turning up the heat a little bit and doing something a little more relevant. I'm thinking about doing a series with Ole Miss. Even though they're stacked, I want to do a custom schedule. I want to put as many of the tough opponents in that custom schedule as possible. I'm thinking about doing that. So if any of you guys got any ideas as far as what teams I should throw in there, I think that'll be fun. And that's what I got brewing. So yeah, hit me up, SGN, and let me know what you think about that. Yeah, man. Please do, Kenyon. Please do, man, because I got to get on that. Yeah, SGN, that'll be my best chance to really lose. Because I played a preliminary game, right, without the custom schedule. And I played FCS somebody, and that game was close. Funny thing is I played it without your sliders because I forgot they didn't carry over, right? And that team ran this crazy triple option offense, and they rushed for over 170 yards. I think I took a picture of it. If I did, I'll send it to you. But yeah, anyway, guys, y'all let me know. For any of you guys that are into gaming stuff. I know why Diggy CT Pittman. Shoot me an email or hit me up on X and say, yo, put these teams in that schedule. I mean, you already know for the most part, Ole Miss's schedule. They're already in the SEC, so some of the heavyweights are already there. But I was thinking about throwing some of the other teams in there, like Clemson and Michigan, and make it a super tough competitive schedule and run through that, play with Jaxon Dart. Because that D-line is all 4 impact players on that D-line. But anyway, man, let me go ahead and wrap this one up. Hope you guys had a wonderful time tonight. I appreciate every one of you guys who dropped some Wonder Bread. If you liked the video, you like what you saw here tonight, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel as well, and turn on your notifications. Outside of that, y'all know the routine. I'm going to wish you guys to stay healthy, stay safe. God bless. Good night. Like always, I thank each and every one of you all for tuning in. And I shall catch you in the next one or some of my special edition streams if we get some quarterback news this week. All right. See y'all then. Peace.